Welcome to the WinEH podcast. This show is focused on empowering ranchers. Whether you're a seasoned rancher or just getting started, we'll guide you on how to use the infinite banking concept as an alternative way to finance your operations. It's a better way to think about money. Join us as we discuss planning for the future, attracting the next generation, and the art of keeping more money within the family. Here's your hosts, Winnie and Lacey.
Hello over there. We are just so honored that you decided to take a moment to lean in with us as we are going to get into a very interesting discussion about how the infinite banking concept is actually a financial lifestyle. Mm-hmm. All right. So, Lacey, I know you're quite excited to really speak to this one. So let's get talking about it.
Okay, I am excited about this topic because I really get revved up because at our fingertip is social media. I mean, it's the world we live in. It's not going away. It's accessible to everyone with a smartphone. And so when we talk about a financial lifestyle, for our listeners, just stop and think like, what does that even mean? And what is your financial lifestyle? Do you even have one? Maybe you don't have one. Some people don't even have one. Some people are wandering around thinking, okay, I've heard about several different financial roads I could take, but I just don't really know which one to take. And so when we are talking about infinite banking and you're learning about infinite banking, most people haven't even heard of it. It's not real mainstream. The number one thing that not the number one thing maybe, but a huge thing that we will always say is this is a financial lifestyle. And so if this resonates with you after you read the books and you meet with us, you have to make a decision. Whether this is the financial lifestyle you are going to choose for yourself and your family. And you got to be confident in that decision. And the reason I say confident, it goes back to that everything, all of the information that we are exposed to or have at our fingertips through social media.
I think it's really good to, I'd like where you're going with this. I guess what I want to know is probably a much clearer example of like maybe an everyday thing. So a financial lifestyle to me, and maybe you can tell me if this is where you wanted to go with this, Lacey, is, I believe that I have to pay for everything in cash. If I don't have the money, I'm going to pay for everything in cash. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe in borrowing anything, and I don't believe in paying interest.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm talking about. So, do you operate strictly in cash? So, two conversations with people come to my mind. One was a few years ago, a family who strictly operates in cash. Everything is cash. They have an envelope system, and they are not open to hearing about any other way. And you know what? If it works for them, that's great. I'm glad they've found something that works for them. Okay, so then another conversation that came up recently is a small business owner who is one of those people with their credit card. They pay for everything with points with that credit card because they have learned how to utilize the card and the point system to their utmost advantage, to where they're, oh, look what I got with my points. I'm getting this. I have enough points to fly for the rest of my life. And it's because they've been, they checked out the system, the point system, learned how to utilize it, and they've been diligent with it in their small business. And so when we just like the person who operates in cash, I mean, they are so confident in their decision that that's what they are doing, as operating it with cash. You're not going to change their minds. And so that's what we mean when we talk about financial lifestyle, and infinite banking can be just as much of a lifestyle as that cash system or that point system that those two people operate in, and being completely confident in that lifestyle.
Yeah, I like it. Because as soon as you started talking about that, I was looking, I guess I was starting to really string together some commonality, whether you're in cash or whether you're, like running it through a credit card to get the points, it's about one's habit around how they use their money.
Yeah.
And utilize it in their life to whatever they feel is relevant. And the habit that has been created, typically is born out of just a taking sense of like taking control, right? And in a conscious way.
Mm-hmm.
So the infinite banking concept is a financial lifestyle because, just like if you're going to pay for cash for everything, it's a thought process, right? Like it's a daily decision. Like you kind of redirect your life so that you can do it that way.
Yeah.
No different than like at the point of purchase, how are you going to pay for that item or that thing at the point of purchase, right? If a person is really hyper focused on, I'm going to do it by a credit card because then I get these points. And then if I get these points, then I can do extra traveling or I can get cash back or whatever. But it's like, it's a lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Just like couponing, couponing is a financial lifestyle, right? It's a habit. So the infinite banking concept is like a habit because it's the way that you integrate the philosophy around how can I capitalize the money that I run through my own system so that it will forever work for me and grow for me for the rest of my life. I can still achieve the same thing, right? Yeah. It's like adding just one more layer into your process, but it doesn't take away any of these interesting other financial ways of doing things, whether you like to pay things in cash or whether you like to pay things in credit or whether you like to do couponing. It can actually enhance, but it is something that you have to integrate into your everyday thinking to be conscientious. Well, how am I going to finance my life the IBC way, the infinite banking way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can actually do both, right? Maybe we're talking to that cash person or that credit card person, but we're like, hey, what if you could do both? What if what Nelson told us, let's make our dollar do more than one job? What if, you know what, you love the cash system? That's awesome. That's great that works for you. But what if we could tell you that you could still use your cash, but before you get that cash into your hands, we're going to make it compound forever for you. Or before you use that credit card and, put that money onto that credit card every month, we made it compound forever for you first. And so I get super excited about this because it's like people can still stay true to what really resonates with them and what makes them feel in control, I think. But they can also practice infinite banking.
And, the benefits of living the infinite banking lifestyle as well is it also solves for advanced estate planning issues unintentionally. First and foremost, we kind of care what it's going to do for us. It should do for us in the short term, right? But the very fact that if you live this lifestyle, it also naturally solves for long-term issues that you may not even prioritize in your life right now, right? So if you're born into a family or you're born into prioritize it, okay, I got to think about my life in the long, there's not a huge population that thinks this way, where you're born into valuing long-term planning.
Yeah.
And the good news is for those of you who haven't grown up around that, is that you're going to really thank yourselves for participating in the infinite banking lifestyle, because you have just made advanced estate planning so much more cost effective, right? It's for yourself and for the estate that you're going to leave behind if you care about leaving a legacy. So And it's with the same dollar. It's with the same dollar.
It's with the same dollar, yeah. And when we're talking to ranchers, I think just the same way that I value the family ranch that I'm on, most people do. And so you're gonna solve for that estate, and when you pass, those kids are not going to be forced to sell off a piece of that land, or divide it up, sell it to the neighbor, whatever they have to do in order to make it.
And to add to, infinite banking as a financial lifestyle, it is actually a way to also, I don't know, it's in a way, it's simplifying one less thing that you have to manage, right? So like, there's only so many different relationships that we can manage in our world. And there's so many different arenas, right? Like we have our health team, we might have our financial team, have our family team. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many different relationships in our life that we have to manage. And sometimes less is more, in the sense of the less you have to manage, the more that you have, right? And so if there was a way for you to live a lifestyle where you don't have to manage all the things that come along with having to lend money from the bank, let's just say, because that's the biggest proponent that like the infinite banking concept really solves, is the need for using the bank as plan A, right? But all the things that we have to typically do with it, like what we talked about in one of our earlier shows, is all about like the things we have to do to qualify at the bank. If we no longer have to do all those things, although for those of you who are administratively, already, like, sometimes it's kind of nice if, I guess the one potential upside of having to use the bank as plan A is that it forces you to do all the paperwork that's required for CRA, which we can't solve for, because that's a whole other entity of its own. But one should still endeavor to keep all of their paperwork up to date. But the nice thing is, with the infinite banking lifestyle, it's not forced upon you because you have to, right? To actually get internal financing. So it's like a financial lifestyle that forces you to constantly think about your own pool of money that you can manage, and it naturally integrates to your family. So it's a lifestyle where you can keep more money in the family, right? And I think that's extremely powerful as it relates to healing the financial divide.
Yeah, healing the financial divide. Yeah, for sure. And it starts with us. If we want to see a change in the generations to come, it starts with us. I have 3 kids, so if I want to see a change in the pattern that has happened in, the last few generations, then it starts with me and my husband, and teaching them a financial lifestyle, paving that way for them.
Well, and what about every single one of your kids has to at some point need cars, right? They're going to need money for this or for that, or maybe every single one of us, no matter like where we are in the season of our life, have to come to a point where we have to set money aside for something that we want.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes we're going to want something that's bigger than the amount of money that we've saved. And so wouldn't it be cool to live a financial lifestyle? I mean, so instead of shunning away from the bank of mom and dad and like teasing, it's like, oh, do you really want, like the bank of mom and dad where like you borrow money from your parents but never pay them back? That's not what we're talking about here.
No,
we're not talking about that here. You can. No. It's about the family bank where your whole family borrows from the family bank and replenishes it so that there's more money for the next item.
Yep, 100%. And I mean, and our family's proof. We have 3 kids. The older 2 have borrowed from the family bank and paid it back. And, then their wheels start turning okay, what's the next thing that we need, and what do I have to do to be able to make it happen? Yeah,
Right.
it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see it trickle down to even the youngest.
So let's talk about, so we kind of went down a path where how it could impact our personal life, but what about the ranching operations?
Yeah, having that financial lifestyle, I think like it's kind of the same, just on a bigger scale, adopting a financial lifestyle where, you know, if you have your system of policies in place, then what would it look like to, when you get that calf check in the fall, what would it look like to run it through, make it compound forever, and using your own money to purchase again? So, I mean, for our particular operation, we mostly run yearlings. And so what would it look like in the fall when we sell our calves for the year, but then we have to purchase again? What would it look like if we could purchase just through our own system of policies? And so if we ever have that compound going to where the ranch is sustainable and prosperous much earlier, where you just have that piece that everything's gonna, what we're doing, we're working toward our end goal, and everything's gonna be great.
In talking a little bit more about the financial lifestyle too, is that I personally do believe, and I think this will make sense to most everyone on the line, it's like every single financial decision we make about money will add up to a particular type of result.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the financial lifestyle that you choose, you know, whether you're thinking about your long-term, like right down until the day that you graduate to heaven or not, you know, it leads to a particular result. And truthfully, it's like there's many paths to get there, but I truly believe that this particular lifestyle, the infinite banking lifestyle, is a much more enjoyable way to get the result that you're wanting, which most of us want the same thing near the end of our life. Our life is just knowing that we're going to have more than enough.
Yeah.
That we're going to have enough. And for the majority of us, we want to leave something behind for the people that we care about or for any obligations that we might have.
Mm-hmm.
And it meets all of those pieces. So, Lacey, why don't you let the folks know what is the next step in helping them to figure out if this is for them?
Okay, the next step is education. So head over to our website, rancherway.com. You're going to want the book bundle. So Nelson's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, and the new and exciting Canadian version of Farming Without the Bank. Reach out to us with comments, questions. We care at rancherway.com.
So glad you leaned in with us on the WinEH podcast. We truly hope you're feeling more informed and empowered to take another step towards optimizing your financial life. Right now, make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep growing and learning with us. Until next time, we wish you prosperity in every area of your life.